Welcome, everyone. If everyone can just take their seat, we'll be starting in a few minutes. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Wonderful. Respected members of the clergy, honorable dignitaries, guests, brothers and sisters, I bid you the Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. My name is Dr. Imran Khan, and I will be your host for this evening. On behalf of the Islamic Education Center and the Children of Abraham Board, I welcome you to the 8th annual Interfaith Iftar. In recent years, the U.S. has become extensively polarized across social, political, and religious divides. With social media, mass communication, and computers, polarization between opposing groups and traditions has only sharpened the divides and prevented open dialogue between opposing viewpoints. That's why events like this are so important. Interfaith events are the bridge to overcome this polarization. In such events, we begin developing a sense of oneness, love, compassion, and forgiveness within and beyond our religious traditions and political affiliations. Ramadan is the celebration of faith known for great diversity. It is a month where we come together with family and friends and share our love, faith, and a symbol of unity. This is the perfect example of the spirit of Ramadan, where we're all here reunited and we can share our love and faith together. We will begin our program with a recitation from the Holy Quran. I would like to request one of our youth, Sajjad Naqvi, for the recitation.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be and blessings be upon you. I will now be starting the program with the recitation of the Quran, of the Holy Quran. The verses I will be reading will be talking about how Allah, God, commands justice and worship, and also about how important the month of Ramadan is and how fasting is. Before I start, it is courtesy for us Muslims to send blessings and praise to Prophet Muhammad and his family with the recitation of Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Now I will now be reading the translation and a little bit of explanation of what I just read. O humanity, worship your Lord, who created you and those before you, so that you may be mindful of him. Indeed, Allah commands justice, grace, as well as courtesy to close relatives. He forbids indecency, wickedness, and aggression. He instructs you, so perhaps you will be mindful. O humanity, indeed we created you from a male and a female, and made you into peoples and tribes so that you may get to know each other. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you. Allah is truly all-knowing and all-aware. O believers, fasting is prescribed for you, as it was for those before you, so perhaps you will be mindful of Allah. Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guide for humanity, with clear proofs of guidance and the standard to distinguish between right and wrong. So whoever is present in this month, let them fast. But whoever is ill or on a journey, then let them fast an equal number of days after Ramadan. Allah intends ease for you, not hardship, so that you may complete the prescribed period and proclaim the greatness of Allah for guiding you, and perhaps you will be grateful. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Thank you, Sajjad. That was beautiful. Our first speaker is Rabbi Lisa Bellows from Congregation Beth Am. She was ordained from Hebrew Union College, JIR, in 1998 and has been at Congregation Beth Am since 2001, becoming senior rabbi in 2009. Rabbi Bellows received her Bachelor of Arts from the University of Illinois and earned her master's degree in political science. She received her Master's of Arts in Divinity from the University of Chicago Divinity School. In addition to serving Beth Am, Rabbi Bellows is an adjunct professor at the University of Chicago Divinity School, where she co-teaches on leadership, community, and change. At this time, I would like to request Rabbi Bellows to deliver the opening prayer.
Ramadan Kareem. It's so beautiful. Both the introduction to the chanting of the Quran and the translation. And I was reminded of how similar the children of Abraham are. The teaching of justice, of charity, of shalom, salam, peace. It stirs the heart. And when we come together, we can be moved to bring that feeling of justice and salam, shalom out into the community and the world. May this gathering be blessed in that way. We thank you for the hospitality that we experience, source of blessing. May you be with us today, not only at this moment when we're together as one people striving for justice and peace, but always. Bless us, continue to bless us. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is that brothers and sisters shall dwell in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you so much, Rabbi, for those beautiful words. At this time, I would like to request the co-founder of the Children of Abraham Coalition, Father Corey Brose, to introduce our two youth speakers.
Assalamu alaikum. It is an honor, again, to be present in this, which I would call my home mosque. For now, more than 12 years, we have been partnering together, alhamdulillah, in recreating the world so that it best reflects, more fully reflects the world that God held out before our ancestors, the ancestors that all our faiths look to for inspiration. And that has only happened because of good people like those gathered in this room, who hold that vision of the way God wants the world to be, not in their heads, but also in their hearts. So today it is particularly my honor to introduce two young people who have embraced that vision and grown into identifying themselves as leaders who want to take this vision out into the world, and who have effectively done so through our middle school peace camp, which has been going since 2018, a couple years off because of the pandemic, but actually started as a prototype in Rabbi Bello's Congregation Beth Am, in October of 2018, and then continued up until this last February, when Peace Camp 4 brought together 50 young Muslims, Jews, and Christians committed to reframing the world. So I now invite Zara Wahid and Jacob Brightman, two of our Peace Camp leaders, to come up and talk a little bit about why don't you can stand up together, even though one of you only talk once at a time. You can come on up, pretend you like each other. And so, Zara is a junior at Glenbard East. I don't want to get that one wrong. There's too many Glenbards. So Zara also is a member of the Board of Directors for the Children of Abraham Coalition. Our nonprofit organization requires that we have 30% of our board members be high school or college students. She brings an energy and a happiness as well as a passion for her faith wherever she goes. Jacob is a senior at Rochelle Zell Jewish High School. I had the honor of getting to know him a little more, almost 2 years ago. He has been doing interfaith work as part of his high school's interfaith club for several years. Together, they make quite a team. So if you could please welcome them, Jacob and Zara.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending our Children of Abraham Coalition annual Interfaith Iftar. Jacob and I will be discussing our interfaith journey and why we are passionate about this work. I was first introduced to COAC and the Interfaith Mission in 2017 when I was in 5th grade, sitting in my Islamic Studies class at Hadi School. My teacher, Ms. Shaheen, as many of you guys might know her, she's a great lady, began teaching us about different religions, and as a Muslim who was only exposed to Islam, I was very curious. I was like, wow. It wasn't long before Ms. Shaheen introduced me to this group called Children of Abraham Coalition, where Christian, Jews, and Muslims would learn more about each other. Now, as a Muslim girl who had been learning about her religion for her whole life, you can already tell that I was excited to learn more about my sisters and brothers in faith. I went to a middle school interfaith event and it exceeded my expectations. Yes, my nerves were sky high, but everything went smoothly, and I knew that I wanted to do this more often. I wanted interfaith to be a part of my life. So Jacob, when did you start interfaith work, and what or who got you involved? Sorry.
I started my interfaith work during the junior year of high school when Father Corey came to my school to give a presentation on COAC and what it was about. At the time, I just started undergoing my own my own religious journey of what being Jewish meant to me. I had started exploring other religions and other ideas about religion, so the timing was perfect. After the presentation, I stayed and asked him how I could join. He gave me his email address, and after about 7 or so failed Zoom meetings and a month of schedule conflicts, I got on a Zoom call with Father Corey, and I formally joined COAC. And I've been a part of the COAC family for over a year and a half now, and 1 month ago, I attended my first Peace Camp, and it was COAC's first Peace Camp in 3 years. And the whole time that I had been in COAC, we had always talked about Peace Camp and how it was such an incredible event and how it's the change that we're looking for. And it's one thing to talk about making a change, and it's another thing to actually go out and make that change. Peace Camp being the perfect example. For months, we planned and talked. We had monthly meetings where food was brought and ideas were exchanged, and eventually, during February, it happened. The monthly meetings were a great way to connect with people, don't get me wrong, and learn about other culture and religions, but Peace Camp was different because over 50 random kids, most of whom I had never met and they had never met me, they came to learn about other religions, and they came to learn about other cultures and how those religions and how those cultures could enrich their own connection with God and their own spiritual experience. And Peace Camp showed me that we can make real change if we just put our minds to it. But what about you, Zara? How has COAC and Peace Camp motivated you and helped you to become an interfaith leader?
Sorry guys, keeping it halal here. So I attended the inaugural COAC Peace Camp in 2018. I was in 6th grade when I got the permission slip, and I swear, like wallah, I had never gotten a permission slip signed so fast in my life. It was my first time stepping foot inside a synagogue, let alone seeing a Torah. And in other words, you can say that I had an epiphany. Any doubts about wanting to join COAC were gone, and I told myself that this is what I was going to do. If I'm going to be spending time learning about anything, it was going to be about these Abrahamic faiths. I am blessed to have been a part of all four Peace Camps and to have experienced precious moments within each of them. Jacob, can you identify a special moment, event, or person that stands out in your interfaith work?
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm glad I asked too.
So during one of those monthly meetings that I talked about where we planned our Peace Camp, it was sometime in November or December of 2022. Sorry, I don't remember the month. It was very cold, so I'm basing my guess on that. It was January? It was January, update. No, it wasn't. I wasn't there. Anyways, it was a 2-hour-long meeting, and for those entire 2 hours, there was not a moment of silence, which was a good thing. It was a good thing because people were asking questions, answers were being provided, random people who had never met before became friends, and food was flying across 30-foot-long circles of tables at some point in the meeting. However, the best part was after the meeting because for about 3 hours, I stayed with a group of kids who I had never met before, and by our own accord, we continued those conversations that we were having during the meeting for 3 hours after. Some of the conversations were about religion, some were about annoying teachers, but most importantly, all of them allowed us to learn about each other on a deeper and more personal level to put a person behind the religious label. The conversations lasted so long that we ended up getting kicked out of the Viator Province Center, meaning we had to continue in the Chicago January cold. And yet, even under the whims of the elements, we remained locked in conversation. And I know you might be wondering, did I get frostbitten? The answer is no, I did not. But you also might be wondering why. As in, why did they continue an already 2-hour-long conversation in the cold for another hour? Well, the answer is because there was a lot to talk about. We talked about our religion, about our culture, about our life, and most importantly, about ourselves as people. See, part of interfaith is not only creating understanding and respect for other religions and cultures, but it's also fostering a sense of community and togetherness, and getting to know people besides for their religions. That 3-hour conversation after the 2-hour meeting definitely accomplished both of those goals. It was a reminder that despite our different but similar religions, we all share very similar lives with very similar experiences, and that religion is a part of the person, not the entire person. That, in my opinion, is the purpose of interfaith. Not just to understand other religions, but to understand and respect people from those religions. That conversation, in my opinion, was the purest form of interfaith, knowing religious people, not just for their religion, but for who they are. Once you know someone for who they are beyond their label of Muslim, Jew, Christian, or any other religion or label, it becomes impossible to reduce them down just to that label. So, Zara, what about you? Can you identify a special moment, event, or person that stands out to you in your interfaith work?
Yeah, always. So it was the end of 8th grade, and after my last day, it was the end of 8th grade on Zoom. Zoom middle school was not fun. It was not middle school, my bad, but junior high. And after my last day, I immediately reached out to Ms. Shaheen to become a COAC board member. And I can proudly tell my 5th grade self that you're making a great decision and I was going to make a great difference. By one child, one student, one person at a time, and with one Instagram post at a time as well, since I was given the great opportunity to be a part of the social media team. I would post and write about important days we would celebrate and commemorate in Islam to help people understand it better. And let's not forget, whenever we have events, God knows how much I pester poor Tom, bombarding him with my emails and telling him, Tom, can we post this, please? I took pictures for this event, so can we post it? Just to spread the word. And to show that learning about these faiths is both fun and educational. And this was an outlet I also never had when I was a kid, not until COAC. But there's also another beautiful thing about interfaith, and that it brings me closer to my religion as well. Being educated about Judaism or Christianity or Islam, I began to see that there are similarities between the three, and that those similarities are what brings us together, and it brings us closer to our own religions too. I encourage the next generation to get involved, and let's fill this world with a little bit more salam, shalom, peace. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So don't go anywhere. Yeah, you can see it must have been a great 2 afternoons with these two characters carrying on. But really, how articulate, how passionate, this is what we want to see in our nation, right? So a round of applause for them. And I told them there is another office that wants to see more of this, and I learned about that today. One of our Peace Camp leaders, equally passionate, was a young girl who attended a Jewish leadership conference in Washington, D.C., where high school age students are trained to advocate for policy to staffers. She was assigned to staffers at the White House, and they started talking with her about anti-Semitism. And she very clearly and very distinctly started talking about Peace Camp and how the difference that made. And so this enthusiasm, this passion traveled across the country. And as a result, today I spent an hour on a Zoom meeting with 20 other organizations in the nation and the White House. And they were asking us for advice on how to stop anti-Semitism and hate. So this enthusiasm, this passion, has now captured the White House's attention. And hopefully that will go somewhere else.
The COAC charm.
They say that.
We call this the COAC charm.
Yes, it's definitely there's a lot of charm up here. But I am so honored because they have reminded me that we can be hopeful in our nation if we are intentionally training our young people to love diversity. Thank you, Zara. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Father Corey. Thank you, Zara and Jacob. Very, very beautiful. So on to our keynote speaker. February 2022, an 18-year-old teen from the state of Maine was found with a backpack with homemade explosive devices, including fireworks, taped together with staples, pins, and thumbtacks, designed to increase the amount of shrapnel propelled by an explosion. His alleged plan was to attack a Shia Muslim mosque in the Chicago area during spring break, and he recruited a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old from Kentucky via Instagram. Of his list of mosques that he was wanting to bomb and attack, the second name on this mosque was the mosque that you're sitting at right now. This one, Islamic Education Center. The attacker was going to attack during the month of Ramadan, just like right now, when it was full of worshipers. The attacker was arrested before he could carry out his plan through the work of the FBI agents and the Cook County Police Department headed by Commissioner Scott Britton. Commissioner, our community owes a debt of gratitude towards you and the work of your department. The reality is that stories like this about attacking houses of worship is unfortunately becoming too common. Just last month, a Los Angeles man was charged with hate crimes after he allegedly shot 2 Jewish men as they left religious services. 1 month ago, on February 25th, 2023, a neo-Nazi group in Chicago declared a National Day of Hate and were encouraging hate actions. In a time when certain political figures are inflaming the fire of hate, it's refreshing and encouraging to hear about a politician standing up against hate, as is Commissioner Britton, who launched a campaign titled United Against Hate. Commissioner Britton received his BA from Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois, and his law degree from the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana. He began practicing with a large Chicago law firm in 1985, and in 2012 opened his own law office in the Chicago Loop. His practice is concentrated in insurance litigation. Commissioner Britton was first appointed to the Glenview District 34 Board of Education in 2002 and was elected to a full term in 2003. Following his time on the school board, Commissioner Britton was elected to the Glenview Village Board in 2007 and has continued to serve as a village trustee for 3 terms. This time I would like to welcome Commissioner Britton to deliver his keynote speech.
Thank you. Ramadan Kareem. So I am Scott Britton. I'm the Cook County Commissioner for the 14th District, representing the north and northwest suburbs of Cook County, 24 municipalities altogether. And before I start our presentation on Cook County United Against Hate, I do think it's appropriate for us to take a moment as we mourn the deaths in Nashville this morning. And I was reminded that my daughter is a teacher in Northfield, Illinois. She teaches special ed. children the same age as the ones that we lost today, once again, to gun violence. Her special ed students were part of the 4th of July parade in Highland Park last year, and they still deal with the trauma that they experienced in that moment. It's 129 mass shootings we've had in the United States this year, and it gives you a chance to think about and to imagine the unimaginable, to lose an adult daughter who's a teacher or a child who's trying to learn. This is a choice. This is a choice that I think we need to re-examine. And so let's take a moment of silence for those we have lost. Thank you. So I do want to thank the Children of Abraham, my great partner in what we're trying to do in Cook County, and which I'm hoping to expand into DuPage County as well and throughout the country. I want to thank Rabbi Emeritus Stephen Hart, who is a native of my hometown of Glenview, Illinois. Father Corey Brost, and I have to tell you, the last time before recently that I had spoken to Father Brost was at Murphy's Bar in Champaign, Illinois, where we were in law school together. I don't know if you realize he's a lawyer, but he is. And we have now reconnected, and we are now partners in so much wonderful work, and I want to thank the Father for both his friendship and his partnership in this. And of course, Dr. Imran Khan for inviting me to this extremely special event that we are going to spend together and to break the special Ramadan fast tonight. I would also be remiss if I did not thank Chief Pappas of the Glendale Heights Police Department and the officers who are here to protect us. And I wish it wasn't necessary, but I think we all feel much better that they are here. The Iftar, among other things, is a time to celebrate, to contemplate, and to commemorate all we do in service to our communities and to those who are less fortunate. It's my honor to be standing with this group of passionate people, including our youth who just spoke, who care for one another regardless of our backgrounds or faith. It is no coincidence that the Children of Abraham and the religions that we all aspire to call us to be good. In the Quran, in the Holy Quran, in chapter 2, verse 195, it says, "Do good, for Allah loves those who do good." Psalm 37:3 says, "Do good and trust in the Lord," which is part of the Judaic concept of, and let me see if I can pronounce this right for the rabbis, tikkun olam, which is to repair the world. And I have a good friend in my district, Rabbi Cohen, who taught me a lesson from Leviticus that says, that which can be broken can be fixed. And that is, in my religious tradition, in Luke 6:35, it says, "Love your enemies and do good." Being here together, we demonstrate this celebration of unity. And in this beautiful interfaith gathering, we have an impactful expression of the very concept of doing good, in stark contrast to those who would do ill. And yet these two simple words, this call to action to do good, can be so difficult sometimes to put into practice. Doing good, as we are demonstrating tonight, can be seemingly a straightforward act of uniting, and indeed we are powerfully uniting against hate and uniting towards justice. But everyone in this room knows that hate, while it exists, has no home in Cook County, in DuPage County, the state of Illinois, our country, or our world. The simple statement of uniting against hate has over recent years become increasingly harder to do. What was once whispered in back alleys and spoken in hushed tones in basements is now said broadly and in public, without any seeming consequence to those actions. There is sadly so much that needs to be done and to make the act of uniting against hate a reality. And I must tell you, as someone who supervises a state's attorney's office and a sheriff's office in Cook County, I can tell you that sadly, hate crimes are scarily on the rise. Anti-Black hate crimes, anti-Asian, anti-Hispanic, civil rights complaints from Muslims, anti-Semitic incidents, and violence against trans and gender nonconforming people are at historically high levels. There is a nationwide surge in neo-Nazi literature drops, propaganda-driven recruitment, and hate crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, I can speak to this myself because a year ago, almost to the day, I went out to get my Sunday paper in my driveway in Glenview, and I saw a bag laying on my driveway filled with rice. It's filled with rice so it won't blow away. Inside that bag was the most vile anti-Semitic literature you can imagine. And it discussed things like Jews control the world, that there was a COVID agenda which was Jewish, the Biden administration has a number of Jewish members, the war in Ukraine was a response to the global Jewish conspiracy. And these flyers included the names of my friends who serve in government in our area with crosshairs, making them a target. These flyers were thrown not just in front yards in my house, but in front yards throughout Cook County, in Niles, Park Ridge, Glenview, Skokie, and Arlington Heights. And when I saw that, I felt I needed to act. And so a month later, I passed a resolution against the rise of anti-Semitism and hate and in support of our county's Jewish population. But I knew that that was not enough. We must do more to stand up against racism, bigotry, and discrimination in all its ugly manifestations. Well, I can never truly understand the effects of hundreds of years of pervasive and systemic bigotry. In the case of our Jewish brothers and sisters, you can make that thousands of years. But I know that people of goodwill, gathered as we are today, can and must stand as an ally against hate and to reject these philosophies for all time. We must speak out against hate for anyone, for hate against one is hate against all. Cook County, DuPage County, our state, must unite against hate. Launched in 2022, Cook County United Against Hate is an initiative which works to create and amplify visual, educational, and actionable ways to stand up against all forms of hate. It is an initiative to disrupt discrimination, empower everyone to champion social justice, and catalyze educational opportunities to learn about systemic racism. The initiative includes a uniting beacon, a powerful pledge and resources to engage in the work of social justice, fairness, and truth. People of hate have too many symbols, and we've seen them all. Some are now being put on the sides of buildings at sporting events. I think you've probably seen them. And I'm not going to talk about those, but I'm going to talk about what I think we've done in response, which is to create this symbol, Cook County United Against Hate. This is the essence of what we're trying to do to show our unity amongst our Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, I can list them all, and people who are not religiously affiliated. It doesn't matter. We're all together. And by the way, those very neo-Nazis, they're after all of us, without limitation. So this initiative asks to share this new symbol of unity, proudly to declare our homes, our government institutions, schools, libraries, service centers, businesses, and places of worship as welcoming and safe spaces which we work towards justice. When we recognize the symbol, we all know we are welcome and that hate has no home here. I have had a number of students, young people, Jewish and Muslim, who have indicated that they have felt other. They have felt discriminated against, and comments have been made to them in their schools. I want to make sure they know that we stand with them to make sure that we reject all forms of bigotry, racism, and hate, wherever it may be. The initiative challenges us to learn from each other through our lived experiences and to interrupt hate through a growing online resource of library and in-person activation events. Standing against hate begins with education to unlearn the systems of white supremacy. We always welcome suggestions on additional content which we would be happy to share. Just last week, we had a presentation through the Simon Wiesenthal Center on digital hate. And I can tell you that if you want to not sleep at night, you can take a look at what they discovered, which is that there is a constant and repeated attempt to indoctrinate our young people into this policy of hate It is done through our social media channels, TikTok being the worst, honestly. Also, there is a monetization of white supremacy. If you go online and look at Amazon, you can order a swastika necklace. It will then direct you to other places you can go for similar materials. This must stop. This is not a First Amendment issue. These are private companies. They don't have to do this. They choose to. And I wonder why. So I ask you, and this is one time when you're listening to a speech from a politician, which you probably don't necessarily want to do anyway, but if you listen to a speech from a politician, you can look at your phones and you can look up www.cookcountyunitedagainst.hate.com. This is one of the few times I'll let you actually use your phone when I'm talking, because this will give you an idea as to what we're talking about and the resources that we've put together. And that the partnerships that I've been so gratified that we've been a part of, including with Children of Abraham today. We're also creating events and initiatives to build awareness and to provoke policy changes. We've hosted community activation events, including last fall. We've invited residents to take a stand against racism and hatred in all of its forms through art, social justice stations, and cultural exchanges. We've hosted a conversation with a former Nazi on white supremacist indoctrination. And we've again recently partnered with Simon Wiesenthal on the Digital Hate Report. Gathering like tonight's events, or this gathering specifically, are critical in silencing the loud minority of division. By together being united, as we are tonight, we are showing that hate has no home in Cook County. Let this generation be the last. Unfortunately, my generation didn't get it done, but perhaps the next can. To reject the enduring images of hate that are scrawled on bathroom walls, death threats sent anonymously across traditional and digital means, violent actions which are attempted in our mosques, our synagogues, and our churches. And to the youth in this room, thank you for taking a stand. And to those who have been bullied for your religious or your cultural beliefs, your race or sexuality, sometimes it may feel that you are alone. But look around this room and know that you are not. Your voice matters. Your perspective matters. Your culture and experiences and expressions matter. We must unite against hate. It is not something we must say, it is something we must do. And the concept of uniting in our Christian and non-Christian religious denominations, to people who identify as LGBTQ+, and in Cook County, we continue our commitment to fighting racism and hate at its roots. We are building a diverse, inclusive, and equitable community that we can all be part of. And through Cook County United Against Hate, we're fighting against the wide-reaching impacts of hate both online and off, through education, targeted investment, prosecution. As I've discussed with the chief, sometimes these crimes are misdemeanors. If there is a racial or religious bigotry animus to it, it can be upcharged to a felony, and we're going to do that. And we're also investing in Cook County to reverse the generational impact of white supremacy on our community. The 2021 budget seeded to allocate additional $40 million to a Cook County Equity Fund, which proactively invests in achieving equitable outcomes through justice, public safety, health, housing, economic opportunity, community development, and social services to benefit Black, Indigenous, people of color. And so I will close with one thing I will ask of you tonight, and it's not that bad. So you can remain seated, but I would like you to take the pledge that we have now created as part of Cook County United Against Hate. And if you'll repeat after me, I think this is a sign and symbol of what we're trying to do and what this entire evening is about. I pledge, to unite against hate. I pledge, to welcome all people, regardless of their background or identity. I pledge to support tolerance and justice. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. We would like for you to know that our community and the COAC support, we support you in this initiative and welcome any partnership against hate. And it was an honor to take that pledge. Maulana Mehboob Mahdi Abadi al-Najafi is the resident scholar and spiritual leader here at the Islamic Education Center. He obtained his master's degree in Islamic studies from the Islamic Seminary Jamia Nazmiya. He is the founder and co-founder of many centers and organizations such as the Hadi School of Excellence, which is a full-time Islamic school, and the International Bucky Organization. At this time, I would like to invite Maulana Mehboob Mahdi Abadi for the closing address.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة على محمد وآله الطاهرين. I would like to thank you everyone for joining us in this very important evening, and this is a yearly event, as all of you know. And this gathering actually is a very blessed one. We are sitting in Islamic Education Center, and a spiritual place. And we are in the month of Ramadan, a spiritual time. And according to Islam, this is the best thing we can do to unite humanity. Human beings are a family, all humans. We are from a single pair of men and women that God has created us from, Adam and Eve. So we are all related to each other. So we have a brotherhood, it's called Islamic Brotherhood. Then we have a bigger circle for that, is brotherhood that you are here, the children of Abraham. So children of Abraham are brothers because all of them are children of Abraham. Then we have a bigger circle. All of us are children of Adam. And Quran has many times addressed by saying, Ya Bani Adam, O children of Adam. So you have just heard the verses from Quran, and you heard very beautiful speech. And the youth, mashallah, their presentation was amazing. See, in Quran, Ramadan is the only month that has been mentioned by name. And we believe that Quran is a miracle from many aspects. One of the aspects is the selection of words in Quran are amazing. Ramadan is for whom? Apparently, when you hear the word Ramadan, you say it is for Muslims. But when you read Quran and the word Ramadan that has been used in Quran in second chapter of this book, in verse 183, it says, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. This is the month of Ramadan in which Quran was revealed. So Quran was revealed for whom? Hudan linnas. It is revealed for human being. It didn't say it was revealed for Muslims. It said, or for Arabs, or for Indians, or for Americans. No. It was revealed for human being. So Ramadan has some significance as related to human being. Why? Because something very important was revealed for human being. So when we talk about Ramadan, we have to be mindful of the fact that we have to, in Ramadan, take care of our brothers in humanity overall. Interestingly, when Ramadan, okay, what Muslims do in Ramadan? In Ramadan, Muslims do the worship, charity, helping each other, and reciting Quran and many good things. But the main thing that they do, and all of you know, is fasting. Why they do fast? Because Quran says that you have to fast. In what? In Ramadan. So if Ramadan, the benefit of Ramadan is for all human beings. Ramadan is for all human beings. Correct? So the fasting is for whom? For all of you? No, don't worry about it. I'm not going to scare you, okay, about it. You have to fast. But see, we have Iftar party, the party that we have, this gathering, after you finish, you will be having a very, good dinner together. You'll sit and we eat. This is a yearly event. What is that called in Islamic terminology? It's called Iftar. Iftar in Arabic means breaking the fast. So who will do the Iftar? What you're doing, you're breaking your fast. So if I say the only people who have fasting today, they can join us. Then no, it's not fair. So see what Quran is saying. So impressive. For Ramadan, it says Ramadan is for all human beings. But when it's talking about fasting, it didn't say fasting is obligatory for all human beings. No, it starts with Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam. All people, not all people, no. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, all believers. The fasting has been prescribed for you. Means you have to fast, believers. But what is the interfaith then? So immediately Quran adds this phrase. Says, Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. It is prescribed for you exactly as it was prescribed for people and nations before you. And this way, Quran referring to Jews and Christians, because they also have the concept of fasting, and we have discussed this earlier, many times in our gatherings, that the Christians and Jews also, they have the concept of fasting. What does this mean? It means all Muslims, all believers, when you fast, fasting is for you. But remember, when you fast, don't forget the people before you. Don't forget the Christians and the Jews who also fast. Why? Because we prescribe this for the people before you. So this way, Quran made it very balanced. The message is very balanced, that yes, you can get together. Some of you will be fasting. Others, maybe not fasting, or the fasting in their own way, not your way, but still you can get together, and it will be hudan linnas, a way of guidance for all human beings, not for a group of people. I really appreciate Children of Abraham Coalition. And I am proud to be part of this from very early start and beginning of this coalition. Father Corey Bros has the leadership, has the patience, and he is very humble. I like his humbleness, and I like the way he encourages others to come and be part of this very great initiative. we as religious people see diversity is very important. And very honorable Commissioner Scott Britton was talking about diversity. About the diversity, we have so many verses in Quran about diversity. It's in very beautiful way, Quran expresses that reality that, see, we cannot live without the love and compassion for each other and tolerance and especially justice. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. That's Sajjad was reciting that ayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders you. It is incumbent and necessary and obligatory for you to be just. Justice is everything in Islam. So be just, and not just wal ihsan. Go beyond justice. Do something. Justice is what? Justice is what you are supposed to do. It is your responsibility is justice. But there is something you do even more. You don't have to do it, but still you're doing it out of courtesy, out of love, out of compassion, out of for the sake of unity. So this is I would say that Quran, when it talks about diversity, it says, "Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha." You have been created from one single pair of parents, and وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ. Then why we have different colors, different languages, different backgrounds? So Quran says in another place, it says, in this ayat, Quran says, it is because لِتَعَارُفُ, so that you can recognize each other. It's not for hatred, not somebody is superior than other for any reason. No, you are a human being, you are equal, and the reason why God created you with this beautiful diversity, it is so that you can know each other. And what? I said, no, I want to be better. I want to be superior. I want to be respectful more. People should respect me more than others. Okay, fine. You can get that level of respect. But how? In akramakum indallahi atqakum. The more righteous among you is the more honorable in the eyes of Allah. If you want to be really honorable, you have more dignity than others, more respect than others, you have to be more generous than others, better than others in your character, better than others in righteousness, in goodness, in your behavior, in everything that is called good, based on human manners. If you have those, you are good. You have more respect than others. Not the money, not the color, not the country, not anything else. The criterion for honor is righteousness, goodness. Be a good human being, then you will be better. And in another place, Quran says that it is women ayati. It is from the signs of God. If you want to recognize God, want to see where God is here in this diversity. God is in this diversity. وَمِنْ آيَاتِ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. God created this earth and the heavens, and God created you with various colors and different languages. So your different languages and colors are what? It is a sign of God. So, in conclusion, I thank you again, everyone, for attending this. As I said, this is really a spiritual gathering. It's a gathering that we give a message to the world that we need peace. We need justice on earth. We hate, but what we hate? We hate hatred. We hate violence. We hate anything that causes destruction. We love what? We love justice. We love peace. We love this kind of unity that we see today beautifully. So, religious people from religious centers, we are not politicians. We cannot give political statements, and we don't know how to do it. But you see, we are religious people. Our message is message of peace and love and compassion and tolerance and harmony and goodness and righteousness and anything good that you can imagine, any good word that you can use. It is our message for the humanity. And we can do it together with this unity. And thank you again. And thanks to the children of Abraham. And thank you, Honorable Mayor Coker, for being part of this gathering. And thank you, all the village trustees of Glendale Heights who are present here, and Honorable Pakistani Consulate General, Brother Tariq Kareem, and his wife, Sister Asima Kareem, and Honorable Cook County Commissioner Scott Burton. Beautiful speech. Thank you very much for that. And as Dr. Imran said, yes, we are part of that beautiful initiative, of course. And we are against hatred and against bigotry and against anything wrong, against any oppression. Thank you, Rabbi Lisa Belos, and youth speakers. I'm proud of you, Zahra, mashallah. You did great job, amazing job. And Jacob, where is he? Oh, right there. Jacob, good job, excellent, very good. And this how we need our youth to be aware of our commonalities. We have more in common than in differences. Unfortunately, people focus on differences rather than the commonalities. So we have so much in common, mashallah. Thank you again, Father Corey, really. So the credit of this goes to you and your team. And may God bless you and your team. And for a long time, I know Rabbi Steve Hart also. Thank you for being here and be part of this. And I really thank the police chief, overall the police department here in Glendale Heights, and city of Glendale Heights, and all the authorities of Glendale Heights, who have been always very cooperative with us, and we have no words to thank them, and especially George Papas, who is here today. Thank you for being with us, and thank you, Dr. Imran Khan, mashallah. Beautifully arranged, and our chairman, Haider Zaidi, and brother Riaz Naqwi, and all those who are part of this interfaith gathering and who arranged this beautiful gathering. Thank you, everyone, and may God bless you, and may God bless all good people in this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maulana. So last year I made a mistake. I said that this is the end of our program, and I almost got trampled. People were like, no food? So I learned my lesson. So this brings us to the end of the first part of our program for tonight. And I want to take the time to personally thank our notable guests who are here with us, the support of our sponsors for this event, IEC management team, and the Children of Abraham Coalition Board, and all of the volunteers of the event who can be recognized by the women wearing blue hijabs and the men wearing blue shirts. So before we adjourn for dinner, which is located upstairs, I request you to take advantage of this time by sitting at a table with someone who you might not know or of a different faith. We have icebreaker questions prepared to facilitate conversation, and I want to thank Naki Mamdani for his efforts for creating those. And if anyone needs to pray, we will be having prayers in the room adjacent to the dinner hall. Thank you, everyone. Now let's go eat. मैंने अनाउंस कर दिया था मैंने अपने स्पीच में मैंने कहा कि in the hall adjacent. If anyone wants to pray, we will be praying in the old Legacy Hall, adjacent to the dining hall. Old Legacy Hall, adjacent. Upstairs.
तो इसका कौन टेक केयर कर रहा है सबको ले जाने का?
ना 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 बिस्मिल्लाह अरे नहीं ना ये करेगा अरे उठ बैठ गया हूँ मेरे पीछे पड़ा हुआ याली याली
731 पे
बिस्मिल्लाह कहिए
नहीं नहीं
हाँ जी आवाज़
अजान ही है खाली बोल रहे हैं कि अपने नमाज यहाँ पर होती है
मैंने समझे बोला जनरल की आवाज़ से लो अजान करे बड़ा भाई बैठा मैं अजान का नहीं सबको बुलाओ
तो बोले कि बोलेंगे क्या जोश इंटरफेथ का जोश इतना आ गया है कि वो अपने पहले नमाज पढ़ाते रहे
नहीं मैंने बोला टाइम नहीं हुआ नमाज का टाइम क्या क्या करना है
ये खाली बोल देना है कि अपने मैन की जो नमाज होगी
इन द लेगेसी लेगेसी
इन द मैन लेगेसी
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Namaz will be performed here in the old Legacy Hall for men. So please get yourself prepared with wuzu and everything. Maulana will be here very shortly. Thank you.